Okay, so you had your test on Friday, and so we are starting a new chapter, chapter 10. And I am so sorry I can't be here today at school, but luckily for you, these two lessons are not too difficult at all. And you have these videos, so it's almost like I'm there. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. I can easily answer your questions on this tablet and just send you the answers to your questions. So lesson 10A is about congruent triangles, or congruent figures really. Usually we talk about congruent triangles though, as you'll see quickly in this lesson. So the lesson starts off with some various shapes and stuff. I left my book over, go grab it. Some various shapes, and obviously you probably have an idea of what congruent means. But in case you don't know, congruent is just a fancy way to say the same. That's it. So congruent equals the same. Not only just the same, but the exact same. Same size, same shape, everything. So not just looks close, but exactly the same. Where's chapter 10? So exercise 10, really there's not really much instruction, just kind of a review of what's congruent and what's similar. We're not worried about similarity right now. I'll teach you that to you when I come back. That's another lesson. Lesson 10A starts with exercise 10A, and it just wants you to answer which of the following figures are congruent. So remember, to be congruent, they have to be exactly the same. Exactly the same in every single way, down to every little detail. Has to be exactly the same. If it's not exactly the same, then they're not congruent. So that's exercise 10A. So go ahead and do that. I think that's I did want to talk about numbers 1 and 2. I did want to talk about number 3 and just kind of explain to you what it's asking for. It says, for each pair of congruent figures, identify the side of the second figure corresponding to side AB in the first figure. So let's just look at 3A real quick. So let's look at side AB. Okay. So what it means by corresponding, that means the side that is the same as side AB on the other figure. Okay. So keep in mind the other figure is rotated. So which side is exactly the same length, so to speak, the exact same length of AB, it corresponds. They go together. If you were to lay this one on top of this one, which side would lay on top of AB? Well, the answer would be this side, FG, right here. It's kind of hard to tell in this. It's probably because it's the way I took the picture with my phone, the page was bent a little bit. But from my perspective, it looks like it's FG, and I believe that's probably the answer. Sometimes it's a little hard to tell. It's kind of a visual thing because they don't really give you any other information. If you're not sure, you could use a millimeter ruler and measure each side, and the side that's exactly the same size as AB should be the right one. So anyway, use a different color just for fun. Let's see. So AB, there we go, and FG. So corresponding, there we go. So I'm going to send this to y'all in the notes so you can look at it, so you don't have to keep rewatching the video. Although you're welcome to keep rewatching the video if you would like. So anyway, that was just for number 3I. And then for 3II, let me go back to my pen. It says identify the angle in the second figure corresponding to angle ABC. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this notation. Depending on the school you came from, you may have seen it as angle ABC. But most of these foreign textbooks use this right here. Oh, there's my cat. Let me go get him. He likes to scratch the TV. That is not good. Hey there. Come on. I got 5 of them, so. Anyway. All right. The cool thing about this second notation is it's kind of helpful because a lot of students aren't sure what angle ABC is. They're like, what's that mean? It's got 3 letters. Which angle is it referring to? Well, the good news about this notation is that since this little angle symbol is above the B, then it's talking about angle B. That's what it's referring to. Let me do that. This angle B really is what it's talking about. You're looking at that middle letter. And the same would go for this notation. It's always going to be that middle letter, but I think with the more foreign notation, it's a little more obvious. Anyway, I'm trying to see if my camera is catching this good. It probably is. But anyway, I'll send this to you if it's not clear on the camera screen. So okay, so back to our A. Let's try to figure out which angle corresponds to angle B. I'm going to use a different color. Let's see, orange is pretty. Angle B. Let's look at angle B. Okay. That's our angle B. So which angle in the other figure corresponds to B? You kind of have to rotate it in your mind. Well, first of all, it's going to be the same, since we said that AB corresponds to FG, then it's either going to be F or G. It's going to be one of those two. And from my perspective, it looks like it's probably angle G right there. So the way we write that is, so angle ABC corresponds to angle, and since it's ABC, you're going to do FGH. It's very important that you do it in order like that, and the reason for that is because angle A corresponds to F, B corresponds to G, you're going to write G, and C, C corresponds to H. So there you go. And that's how you do number 3, I and double I. So I would like you to do all of numbers 1 through 3. Shouldn't take you very long. So go ahead and do that. And you have until Wednesday. So, and actually it's going to be, we're doing 2 lessons today. We're doing lesson 10B also, which is also another quick and easy lesson. It's not too bad. But you have till Wednesday to get both of these done. So it's not too bad. So on to the next lesson. We're going to do lesson 10B. Okay, I already pre-pulled these up so I don't have to waste a lot of time on camera on these. But this is lesson 10B. Oops, I think I need to go up more. And in case you're not already turned there, it's on page 181. And this is really talking about congruent triangles in particular. And it goes into a little more detail, but not much more complicated than 10A. The first thing you need to know are the congruence test. I should have put this on the next page, that diagram right there. So the congruence test, these are really important. For triangles. Okay, think of letter combinations, 3-letter combinations of A and S. Think of all the different 3-letter combinations of those. So let's go ahead and list all of those. all the 3-letter combinations of A and S. So, of course, AAA, SSS, of course. Someone's here, but I'm not answering the door, so. ASA, SAS, AAS, which actually is the same as SAA. ASS, which is the same as SSA. You can flip it backwards, it's the same thing. Let's see, am I missing any? 2 S's and an A, 2 A's and an S. 1 S, 1 A, I think. Good, Jason's getting the door. So, I think those are all of them. All of the different 3-letter combinations. And the reason why it's 3-letter combinations is because we're dealing with triangles, and triangles have 3 sides and 3 angles. So, anyway, so we have 3-letter combinations. So, most of these work, not all of them work. The ones that don't work, pretty easy to remember, luckily. The car agency doesn't work. You can't use that one. We'll talk about AAA in another lesson that actually deals with similarity. 2 triangles with all their angles, their corresponding angles being the same. So if you had, for example, a triangle that was like 30, 60, and 90, and you had another triangle that was 30, 60, and 90, those 2 triangles would be similar, but not necessarily congruent. They could be congruent, but not necessarily. We don't have enough information to prove that they're congruent. So once again, we'll talk about AAA in another lesson. But for right now, you can't use that. And the other one you cannot use is the bad word. And it's not because, and that's forwards or backwards. It doesn't matter if it's forwards or backwards. You can't use the bad word. And no, it's not because it's a bad word. That's not why. We just tell students that because it helps them to remember that they can't use it. There's actually a very valid reason why you can't use that. I don't want to get into that today on this video to make it really long. But I'll just say that 2 triangles can have this property and not be congruent. They could be congruent, but most probably they're not. Basically, you could wind up with a triangle like that and a triangle like that in this situation. And we'll talk more about that when we get into the examples. So, but you just right now, just know that you can't use those. Let's see, my paintbrush. So, do not use that one. Do not use that one. Don't use those, okay? So just for the sake of the notes, you can see. Okay. Hopefully you can still see that when you go through the notes. And all those other 4 or 5, you want to call it 5, really they're 4, you can use. There's, in the book, they're pretty much the same. They also have in the book, there's another one that does not involve a 3-letter combination like this. Get this thing to work for me. The last one is called RHS. It's right angle, hypotenuse, side. That's what that means. In American textbooks, you will see that as, it's actually called hypotenuse leg. It's the same thing. And when you go to your school next year, you may very well see hypotenuse leg, and that's the same as this one. The only reason why I bring this one up is because that's going to be what the answer key is going to say in your textbook. I usually refer to it as hypotenuse leg because I like hypotenuse leg. I'm used to it. I just think it's easier. It's 2 letters instead of right angle hypotenuse side. That is a mouthful. I personally like hypotenuse leg better. Okay, so let's go into some examples. You're probably really confused right now. You're like, what in the world is she talking about? Okay, I only have 5 minutes left on this camera, so I gotta hurry up. So example 1, this is on page, it's right below the definitions on page 182. Are the following pairs congruent? So first of all, you're just going to answer the question, are they congruent? Well, obviously they're all going to look congruent. Well, they all look congruent, don't they? Scroll down. Look, they all look congruent. So you're going to say yes for all, well, you're going to want to say yes for all of them, but you're not going to answer this first. You're going to pick, to state the congruence relationship. What it means is you are picking one of these things right here. You're picking one of those things right there. And then you're going to say if they're congruent. So it's kind of backwards. So if it matches one of those, then they're congruent. If it does not match one of those, then they're not necessarily congruent. Okay, so let's look at A right here. Okay, we have a side is the same as a side. These two are the same. That's why they have one tick mark. And these two are the same. And these two are the same. So it looks like we could use side, 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 which is one of our possibilities. So we're going to say yes, they are congruent. Let's look at B. Okay, that's a right triangle, so we may be able to use this hypotenuse leg right here, or RHS. Whenever you see a right triangle, you want to kind of think about that one. Let's see. And what that means is the right angle, the hypotenuses are the same, and you have a side that's the same. So they have a right angle, the hypotenuses are the same, and they have a side that's the same. But wait a second. It's not the same. Is it the same side? Maybe it is. It's hard to tell because, let me look at my book. Yeah, it is the same. Okay. I was just making sure because my diagram is kind of not, because the page was bent, so it's not great. It's hard to tell, but in your book, those do correspond. AC does correspond to LM. And I think I taught this to y'all last year, actually, so it probably should be a review. I just thought about that. This is RHS. Is it RHS? Yeah. I always think hypotenuse leg, so I can't remember what the name of that thing is. You're going to say yes. Okay. Now, this one, you see we have an angle. It's the same. That's why they have the same letter. And then another angle that's the same. And we have the side between them. So it's angle, angle, with the side in between them. Do you see that? So it's two angles with the side that's in between those two. See the sides in between these two angles. So it's ASA. So this is ASA, which is one of our properties, and it's yes. If you're not sure, the properties are up here. ASA is right there. Okay. Now this last one. It's got to be one that's no, right? Okay. So we have two angles and a side that's not between them. So we have two angles and a side that's not between them. That actually is one of our properties, actually. So that's going to be also yes. It's AAS. Surprise for surprise, none of them are no. Okay. All right then, I fully expected at least one of them to be no. But saying D is not congruent. Why is that? Did I miss something in my diagram? Because it looks... Oh wait, it's not the same side. See, I messed up. Look at this thing again. Okay, let's see. AB, AB. This diagram is not. Okay, see, look. This side that's marked is across from angle B here. But this side that's marked is across from angle A here. So therefore, really, actually, this side is supposed to go with this side right here. So if this tick mark was here instead, then they would be congruent. But because it's not, then they're not congruent. Let me erase that, try to make that a little more clear. Okay. Okay, and this is an angle. There we go. No. Not congruent. Like 15 seconds left, so I'm going to need to piece these videos together. I'm going to do a part 2 actually. So anyway, I have like 9 seconds left, so goodbye. I will finish the last example in part 2 of this video. I hate to do that, but that's what I have to do. All right, see you in the next video.